Thanks for joining us this week for UND Sports Extra. I'm Alex Heinert. We'll ask anyone associated with UND football, and they'll tell you this past weekend's clash against Weber State was poised to be the biggest game so far in the 2+ seasons that Bubba Schweigert's been in charge in Grand Forks. After all, the Fighting Hawks and the Wildcats were both unbeaten entering Saturday, and both were looking to take a step closer to a Big Sky title. Weber State, one of two current Big Sky teams that UND had never beaten, a trend Bubba Schweigert was hoping to change on a special green out day at the Alara Center, and his team would get out to the best possible start. Weber State wins the coin toss, defers, and then kicks off to John Santiago. The last of those three decisions would prove costly. The sophomore splits through the Weber coverage team and is gone 100 yards to the house. Santiago had a touchdown on a kick return called back a week ago at Idaho State, but no flags in sight on this play. First kick return touchdown for UND in 3 years, 7-0 North Dakota. First possession now for Weber State Wildcats in UND territory when Cameron Livingston appears to have a catch on the sideline, only for Deion Harris to strip the ball into the arms of Zach Arnell. Arnell gets the grab and double taps the feet to stop the Weber drive. The Wildcat offense, though, would not be dormant for long. Second Weber State drive of the second quarter, and a slip in the secondary allows Jadrian Clark to hit Daryl Denby for the 19-yard touchdown, tie ball game at 7 apiece. After a UND 3-and-out, Weber State would strike again. First play of their drive, Clark makes something out of nothing here to find tailback Heine Moy Moy, and the senior rumbles for 47 yards down to the UND 32. 3 plays later, fullback Corey Thompson dives in from 1 yard out. Weber would come up short on the 2-point try, so the Wildcat lead would be 6 at the break. After Weber's opening drive of the third would stall in UND territory, the Fighting Hawk offense would start to come to life, beginning with this reverse executed to perfection. Travis Toivonen takes off for 34 yards to the Wildcat 28. 5 plays later on 3rd and 7, Brady Oliveira gets the call on the draw, and he barely is touched on his way to pay dirt. 6th straight game with a rushing score for the sophomore. UND back up 14-13. Next Weber State possession, Clark tries to find his tight end Andrew Vollert, but Cole Reyes has other ideas. In his first game back, after missing the last 2 with a hamstring problem, the junior safety makes the pick and sets up North Dakota at the Wildcat 17. UND would get down to the 1, but that's when adversity would strike. Keaton Studsrud would try to extend the lead on a bootleg on 2nd and goal, but he'd come up just short of the pylon and would land awkwardly in the process. The junior quarterback would be in obvious pain and leave the game holding his right shoulder. He would not return. Enter redshirt freshman quarterback Brad Heidelbaugh, who had not attempted a pass in college until this. 4th and goal, Heidelbaugh floats one to a wide-open Noah Wanzik, and the freshman phenom does the rest. Full stretch for Wanzik, who hangs on for his 3rd career score, 21-13 North Dakota after 3. To the 4th, where UND's defense would step up time and time again. Drew Greeley comes up with the strip sack from behind on Clark, and Brandon Dranka is there for the recovery. That sets up a short Reed Toppenheim field goal to make it 24-13. But Weber was not done just yet. The Wildcats get a big kick return and score 3 plays later. Clark to tight end Tui Satuala with 4:46 left, and it is down to a 5-point contest. Weber would get the football back with 3 minutes to go, but Cole Reyes would step up again, his 2nd pick of the day, and the 4th turnover forced by North Dakota. That put Toppenheim in range to extend the lead from 42 yards out, and the junior would knock it through. 27-19, North Dakota back up by 8. Last chance now for Weber, and fittingly, UND ends Wildcat hopes with another huge defensive play. Brian Labatt on the end of this sack, the 7th of the day for the Fighting Hawks, and that all but seals it. 27-19 your final, as 17th ranked North Dakota wins their 7th straight to stay perfect in the Big Sky. Only 212 yards of total offense on the day for UND, including just 41 yards passing, but Bubba's crew was lights out on defense. 4 turnovers, 7 sacks, and they hold Weber to just 12 yards on the grounds.
Felt great to be back, you know. more of a standpoint of like leadership, having a leader out on that field defensively. I mean, we got other guys that are leading too, and to top it off, make a couple plays. I gave up a couple too, so that's disappointing, but it's just glad to be back out there and get a win with these guys.
I was supposed to rub Travis, and Travis was supposed to probably get the catch, and I turned around and I was like, there's the ball. So I laid out for it, and just happy I caught it.
When we came in at halftime, our defensive line coach told us, hey, we need to apply pressure on the quarterback, make it easier on the guys in the back, and great things will happen. And that's exactly what happened there. And being a pressure defense like that and getting after the quarterback is always fun. And it makes our defense run, putting pressure on the quarterback. So it was a lot of fun out there.
Just our defense getting to it and doing their job and making 3 and out here, 3 and out there all the time. I mean, that motivates us. That motivates us as the offense. And it puts more weight on our shoulders. Makes us want to grind harder. Makes us want to move the ball down the field. And, yeah, that motivates us, and they did their part today.
A huge win to celebrate for UND, but did it come at a cost? We'll check in with the head coach on the status of his quarterback when we come back.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance and the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back. Well, we're joined as always by the head coach of University of North Dakota football, Bubba Schweigert, fresh off another week, another big win for this team. And I think coming into this game, everybody expected this to be a tough contest, a big, high-profile game against a fellow unbeaten team. You always say the next week is the biggest week. This week, though, that was certainly the case.
It sure was, and we got what we expected from Weber State. Tough physical game and a 4-quarter game, and did enough to win the game.
Yeah, as we get into the details of this one, you get off to as good a start as you could. John Santiago with the big 100-yard kickoff return. That seemed to set the tone, at least, to get this team up and going right off the start.
Well, it got the crowd into the game at home, and we wanted to do something early, and John does a good job when he's in space, but excellent run, but we also had a number of guys make really good blocks on that play to spring him to the end zone.
Yeah, a lot of room for him off the left side on that one. Unfortunately, that was kind of the high point offensively in that first half. Weber's defense stepped up a little bit. They really held you down on the run game and in the pass game. No pass attempts in that first quarter. Any particular reason why you went exclusively to the run in the first?
Well, we just felt we needed to find a way to run the football, and we're trying to control the ball. And and the big key, the turning point in the game, I thought, was when the short yardage play, back-to-back, 3rd and short, 4th and short, and we didn't convert. That gave Weber some confidence, gave them some momentum, and we never really gained any momentum back in that first half.
Yeah, Weber State would take a 13-7 lead into the break. They get the ball first and drive down into your territory. But underrated play in this game, your defense comes up big. You get a couple of sacks. You knock them back out of field goal range. I'm assuming that was a huge spot to keep them off the scoreboard in this contest.
It sure was, and we overcame a penalty there that gave them a first down when they were going to try a long field goal, and just really proud of our guys to be resilient and tough and stick with it there and knock them out of field goal range. That swung the tide our way. I really believe that was a key point in the game.
Yeah, after that stop, you get the football and march down the field 6 plays, 80 yards, get a score. Then Cole Reyes gets a pick. You score again, completely flipping the game in about a 4-minute span there at the start of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, and getting the turnovers on defense was huge, and us taking care of the football was huge. We won the turnover battle 4-0, and then another key point in the game was very few penalties by us. We only had 3 penalties on Saturday, and that really helped our football team.
Yeah, at the end of that last touchdown drive in the 3rd quarter, Keaton Sudsford gets hurt on a bootleg play. You send in Brad Heidelbaugh, and you put the ball in his hands, a 4th and 1 from the goal line. He makes a pass, throws eventually the game-winning touchdown to Noah Wanzik. A lot of faith in that kid to bring him in and put the ball in his hands like that.
Yeah, we just felt like it was a good opportunity to try to score 6 instead of taking the field goal, and a lot of situations we'd probably take the field goal there, but felt we needed to get up by more points and had an opportunity there in the game. And Brad came in and did enough to get it to Noah, an excellent catch by Noah.
A nice North Dakota connection on that from Rugby to Jamestown. Keaton did not return to the game with that shoulder injury. What was the initial prognosis on him, and then what is his status moving forward?
Well, he wanted to come back in, and we just felt like he was going to be at risk, and that's always the situation where we got to make a good decision for the long term and not the short term. And we felt like the way the game was going, we could go with the other guys, and this was their opportunity to help our football team. You know, we try to use our roster as best we can, and we have to do it at the quarterback position too.
Yeah, Brad and Ryan Bartles picked up a couple of first downs for you as the game went along, but it was really the defense that helped win you this contest in the second half. As you mentioned, the turnovers, 4 forced on the day, 7 sacks. You hold them to 3 of 16 on third down. I know that there are obviously things you'll work on this week and you'll kind of pick apart stuff, but by all accounts, a very complete performance for those guys on that side of the football.
Yeah, it came down to no rushing yards, 12 yards rushing, and when you can make a team have to throw the football, the advantage we feel goes to the defense. And just a great job by our guys up front, and I thought our coaches did a nice job at halftime of making a couple simple little adjustments that really helped our team in the second half.
We should mention too, Reed Saubenheim, a big day for him in the kicking game, a couple of clutch kicks late in this one to really seal it for you. On a day when Weber State misses an extra point and really couldn't rely on that kicker, the fact that you've got someone you trust back there is huge for this team.
Yeah, 2 for 2, and the last one was huge. To go up 8 points, that sure changes your thinking. It's still a one-possession game, but it changes in a big way how the game could turn out and how you call things going down the stretch.
You get the 27-19 win, now your 7th in a row. This team very much on a roll heading into the final 2 weeks of the regular season for you. You now head on the road again to play a much improved Northern Colorado team, 5-3 on the season. You whooped these guys last year, but a much improved Bears squad coming into this weekend.
Yeah, they're playing with a lot of confidence. A huge win for them on the road at Portland State, scoring 56 points, and they've won 2 in a row, and they're playing well. In one of their better games that they played, we felt they played really well against Eastern Washington, who we know is a good football team. So this team is playing well. They're balanced on offense, difficult to defend, and really playing hard on defense. And they'll be excited to play, and they're at home and I don't believe they've lost at home, so it's going to be a tough road trip for us.
Big battle in Greeley coming up on Saturday, and that kind of brings us to this. Now you've got 7 wins this season. That equals your win total from last year. We remember that wasn't enough, though, to still satisfy the committee. How important now just to get 1 more and get up to 8 or get to 9 and really seal this thing and leave no doubt in their minds.
Yeah, well, we're focused on our day-to-day approach here, and we're at the top of the Big Sky standings, and that's where we want to stay. So we got something to really fight for, and we're going to take it one day at a time, one game at a time. That's what we're feeling and talking about right now. So that's how we got to approach this.
And that's been the mindset this year. It's been working out well, certainly for you, Coach. Best of luck this weekend in Greeley. We'll talk with you about it next week.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Bubba Schweigert. As we come back, UND Volleyball takes center stage here as Mark Pryor stops by the studio. Stick around. Welcome back. Well, joining us in studio after going a perfect 3 for 3 this past week, head coach of North Dakota Volleyball, Mark Pryor, and another wild week for you guys. It's been a wild 9-day stretch. What were the exact numbers on matches and miles you guys have taken care of?
It was a little over 4,500 miles over a 9-day stretch. So we're just happy to be home and be stationary for a couple days.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, 3 matches this week. You started with the big win on the road against North Dakota State in 3. Then you hop on a bus and you go 15 hours to Missoula and take on a Montana team that you'd had a lot of success against. Split the first 2 in that one, but then really got things rolling in sets 3.
Yeah, we did. The second one was one of those that the first one we took care of business. Second one we started. It was one of the worst starts I've seen, and we go into the locker room, and I'm like, okay, we have to throw that away. We've got to let go. And it could have been, the kids were like, okay, whew, all right, that's fine. Now it's 2 out of 3. And we came out and really played well in the 3rd and 4th sets and got the W.
Yeah, get the win in 4 double-doubles from Tamara Mercelli and Sydney Griffin. Sydney, by the way, quietly 10th in the nation in total assists. I know she was great for you last year, but what has she done to take a step forward even this season?
She's really made a real concerted effort to play defense. And for her, that's a big step. And I think a lot of it is because we've got so much balance on offense, she can kind of set anybody. We don't have anybody in the top 10 in the conference in kills per set. Yeah. But we're still producing, so that's one of those things. She can throw it up to anybody, and she's got a confidence that they're going to put a ball away.
Get the big win over the Grizzlies on Friday, then you go on the road to Bozeman on Saturday, and I want to tread carefully here, but by all accounts, you were pleased with this performance from start to finish against the Bobcats.
We were. It's one of those that I think with where we are now, there's certain matches you just have to take care of business. Yeah. And it's one of those, there's no other way around it. There's no way of sugarcoating it. It's like, look, here's where we are. These are matches we should win. And I think we did a great job. We actually served really well. I think I had 8 aces in that match. Kept them off balance. And we're able to kind of just, okay, we're done. Let's shower, clean up, let's get on the road and get home.
Yeah, you get the 8 aces, which you mentioned, no service errors. That was a part of the game that was questionable for you at the beginning of the season. Any change from then till now in that part of the game?
The kids, I think they're doing a great job of just kind of being back at the service line, understanding what their job is, and for us to have 0 service errors, okay, that's just not going to happen very much. But as long as we can kind of have close to a 1-to-1 ratio, I'm good with it. Because if we're serving that aggressive, we're going to miss some, but we're also going to get them out of system enough, and that's really what happened against Montana State. Their left side just couldn't produce.
So big sweep against Montana State. You win 9 of the 10 sets you play this last week. You've now won 10 of your last 11 games. You lost just once over that stretch. You're tied atop the lead in the Big Sky standings. The stretch now really gets tough, though. 4 games left, and it starts this week with a couple of home ones against Eastern Washington and Idaho.
We talk about being good in November. That's why a lot of times before we get on a flight, the day before a game, we're lifting and we're in the weight room. And the kids understand it. They embrace it. They know, hey, November is our time. November is we want to play meaningful matches, and we are. You know, Eastern Washington's coming in, and they're trying to get a conference berth. And they're a dangerous team. They're kind of like the Tasmanian Devil. There's just massive destruction all around when they play. A lot of it's inflicted on us. A lot of it's inflicted on themselves. So we just got to play clean. And then Idaho's still fighting for a spot, too. So it's going to be a tough week.
Yeah, senior night coming up on Saturday. A couple of 7 o'clock games. A great chance to come support this team this weekend. Mark, best of luck in those matches.
Thanks.
We'll talk with you about it next week.
Sounds good.
Coming up next, we have got a look at UND Basketball Fan Fest hoops coming up next. Welcome back. Well, as crazy as it sounds, it is November, and that means college basketball is just around the corner. To get you excited for hoop season, let's take you back to Thursday night at the Betty Engelstad Sioux Center and give you a cinematic look at this year's North Dakota Basketball Fan Fest. Classic stuff right there. Gino Crandall won the men's slam dunk competition for the second straight year, while Ellie Ripplinger won the three-point shootout. A reminder that both the men and women open up regular season play Friday, November 11th. The men kicking off with a 1 o'clock start against Crown College, with the women facing Missouri Valley powerhouse Drake at 3 p.m. We're back in a moment to wrap things up here on UND Sports Extra. Stick around.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance and the University of North Dakota.
A week after 2 hard luck losses against number 1 Wisconsin, the UND women's hockey team bounced back in a big way with a home-and-home sweep of number 10 Bemidji State. Friday night saw 3 North Dakota freshmen get in the scoring column to go along with 2 goals from senior Amy Menke in a 5-2 win at the Ralph. Defense won the day the following afternoon in Bemidji as Lexi Shaw made 21 saves to earn her second shutout of the season and help UND complete the sweep with a hard-fought 2-0 win. Brian Nadolski's Fighting Hawks are off this weekend before hosting Minnesota Duluth the 12th and 13th of November. No live events on Midco SN this week, but plenty of UND sports to keep up with, including 2 home volleyball matches with Big Sky title implications. Be sure to get to the Betty at 7 p.m. Thursday and Saturday to support North Dakota as they fight for the right to host the postseason tournaments. We hope you join us again next Tuesday night right here on UND Sports Extra. Until then, I'm Alex Heinert. Thanks for watching.